Hi, and welcome to the Fairy Godmothers Pod of Wisdom and Knowledge. I'm Reverend Elizabeth Howell and co host.
I am Reverend Cynthia. We're all excited to be here today. I know I am because I have one of my favorite teachers.
Yeah, we have her favorite teacher on the phone right now, so we're
Yep.
going to jump right in. We want to welcome everyone who's tuning in, and we want to thank you. Share, like, and support the show. Email us if you want any questions or comments, and we're going to go straight to it. So
Yeah, and I want to warn those who are been following us, that the whole two of you that are out there,
Yep.
that we are changing our format up today, and we're starting with our guest today. And I would like to introduce Don Zane Curfman. His first name is not Don; that is an honorific of his shamanic tradition. And I just Don, why don't you or Don? Zane.
Yeah,
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us all a little bit about your background so people other than me know what's going on?
sure. I'm Zane Curfman, known as Don Zane, or a lot of people just call me Z. I am a Alto Misayo, also a Kurak Apuyak, which are two titles of types of priests within the Andean Pakokuna tradition, which is a traditional indigenous lineage that dates back to time immemorial. And really, it is the ancient Inca spirituality. It's a nature mystic tradition. Sometimes we call it shamanism. Of course, people who are real sticklers for terminology take some offense to that because shamanism is something that really is Tungus Siberian in nature. But anthropologically, it's all these indigenous traditions are called shamanism. I'm also a Sansista, which is a priest of the Afro-Caribbean tradition of Sanse. And for the last 25 years or so, I have been really serving a community of people through workshops, retreats, and sacred travel to places like Peru to help people, really develop what's unique within them. Not necessarily do they need to become part of a tradition, but I've always seen it that these traditions are like sacred technologies that help us to align with who we truly are so that we can move forward in our lives.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I would like to just clarify for myself, the people that you're helping through doing all of these things. These are family groups within Peru, is it not?
Some are, yes, absolutely. So I work a lot with some people who help to create resources for the Quechua Indians, in particular, a group within the mountains above Cusco, Peru, who still live more or less their traditional life ways. They're called the Quero. And I have a real connection to one particular village called Kiko, where my goddaughter is from. But they are a series of villages that in the 1980s were finally given by the cultural authority of Peru to these people so they could continue living the way they have always lived. Now, of course, with all the climate change and with other things going on in our world right now, those old lifeways are having to transition a bit. And part of that transition has created a little bit of issues in those villages, which are used to a certain kind of predictable weather pattern. And over the last 10 years especially, glaciers have melted and water isn't as available as it used to be, and just all kinds of things have kind of came that have changed a bit of their lifeways. So they're trying to learn how to readjust to a new perspective while still honoring their ancient ways. So, I like to give a little bit of what I make through my teachings and workshops and retreats, and I like to pay that back to them through official channels that do things like water projects for them, building new bridges, because that's something that they can't within themselves do so much, and helping them to protect their environment, helping them to understand how to protect their environment even. There's a lot of different programs that do go on for them, and that's one of the ways I like to give back.
Well, I'm going to have you send me those places that you recommend for donations, and we'll get that on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
put it out there that, others can donate too if they can and want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can get that for you.
Excellent.
And how long have you been doing this now?
This work has been about 25 years. It's hard for me to really say when it all began, but with the Andean tradition, it's been about 25 years. My father was a Baptist missionary preacher, so there was always a big emphasis on spirituality. My mother was a type of natural psychic. So, and we grew up in impoverished Appalachia, in the families from the mountains there. And so there was a lot of, we really relied on our spirituality to get through life. So that fit in perfectly with the calling when I first received the calling to start studying these Andean traditions.
Yeah. It's so beautiful there, and the people are so humble and grounded, aren't they?
They definitely are. It's a different type of environment. People fly in, and of course you're going to fly into Lima because that's where the international airport is. And that has a lot more of a Spanish characteristic to it. Mm-hmm. And it also has a big city type of energy to it. And then just a couple hour flight, from there, and you get up into the mountains where Cusco, Peru is, there's this whole difference in the energy and the quality of the people. Of course, everything's changing, as we all know, so that's part of the prophecies too, is that even though these people had held on to these traditions for this amount of time, there was going to come a period when they were going to start sharing it. And in that sharing, it's a cultural exchange. It's not just them sharing what they have because they're better than us in some way. It's them sharing their sacred technology, and all the rest of the world, especially the Western world, sharing the science with them, the medicine with them, these new advances and these new ways, and that both would be changed by this. In fact, when this tradition was first opened up, the idea was that the indigenous were no longer interested, the young were no longer interested in following the path of the grandparents anymore, that they had been indoctrinated into the modern world so much that they saw it as backwards and very strange practices. And they didn't want to go back into what they were told was superstition. So especially in the 1970s, the early 80s, this branch of the priesthood that I teach, the Alto Masayo, was known by less than 6 indigenous people. And they were the lineage holders of this tradition. And it was through their wisdom that they decided that this would not survive in the indigenous world anymore, and that they had to open it up. Now, they didn't, maybe they knew this because Don Benito was a great seer, but a side effect of opening it up was that tourism started to come to Peru, and then the indigenous people, the descendants of the indigenous people, started seeing these practices being taught and started seeing gringo down there doing the practices of their grandparents, and they started to find a respect in it again. And it kind of created a revitalization for the purposes of tourism, a revitalization in the tradition itself and in the indigenous people taking an interest in the tradition. Still, to this day, the Alto Masayo is the rarest branch. And of all the time that I've studied there, I have only met 4 indigenous Alto Masayos. Wow. All the rest and almost all the teachers that you hear about are Pampa Masayos. It's an equal path, but it's a different path. And it's a path that is really focused on the cultural elements and how to keep the culture alive and things like that, where the Alta-Masayok path is much more global and has a larger vision than just the regional area there.
Well, that's fascinating. I know that Lou has studied with you several years now and has done
since 2015, I think was maybe the first class I took.
Yeah, I did several initiations with you, and I know you went to Put-in Bay to the
to Crystal Cave.
Crystal Cave, that was one of them. That's cool. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's very beautiful there.
Yeah,
very nice, sacred space, and from what I understand, a very hard space to kind of get free time in. And our brother Hank, who has helped me arrange a lot of the courses and trips I've done in the area, he really did the legwork to make that happen. I had let him know because one of my teachers and good friends in the Toltec tradition had told me about it. His name's Chal Nawal, or Randy Hastings. He passed away back in 2009, but he had told me about that crystal cave there and about the ceremonial work that he and his groups would do there. So when I let Hank know, he was able to do the legwork and actually pinpoint where it was and get us permission to go there. It's always been a very special thing for us when we've been able to go there.
Yeah. So you not only do you teach, but you have written a book. Called
Incan Mountain Magic.
There we go. Sorry, we did have a picture of it. Incan Mountain Magic, and it is available on Amazon, correct?
Yes.
So there we go. It's also at several bookstores, if I'm understanding. Is it up at Goddess Elite, or
I think it's still at Goddess Elite. I'm not exactly sure how many local stores actually carry it.
But I have a copy.
I
bought one.
I have one too, but mine is signed.
Yeah. Yours would be signed. I think mine was not. Or no, wait, it was, because I got it at the Holistic Health and Healing.
Oh, okay.
Event. So
yeah, and I think Hank might still have a few of those books that I had signed for him.
Okay, awesome. And then you have some new books coming out, correct?
I do, yeah. It's we're really at a new phase in life. I'm sure you've all kept up on the movements of the sun and how we've been having this amazing solar maximum for over a year now. And we, in many of the traditions, the ancient traditions of the earth, but also in the Inca, we see the sun, which we call Inti Taita, as a benevolent father. But we see that the actual light rays that it releases are codes, and we download those codes into us through seeing our reality around us. And so, in the last couple of years, really since the pandemic, there's been this real big movement in life, and spiritual traditions are changing. Everything is starting to change at a very rapid rate. The way I like to look at it is the wisdom of the ancestors left us these processes, which are stored in ancient traditions and lineages. And these processes are used to develop the self, used to create a self worth living. And through these processes, we can really change the world. Now, they were talking about a time in the future, and that time has now come. And we really have moved through that time. We moved through the envelope of what they left for us. And I believe this is true whether we're talking about the Christian tradition, the Jewish tradition, all the prophetic traditions of the world. We have outlived the prophecies. That doesn't mean that the prophecies were wrong. That doesn't mean that the prophecies were worthless. It meant that they did what they were supposed to do, which was to capture the imagination of the people long enough for us to make it to a certain point without destroying ourselves, without losing what made us so essential and human. And just since 2012, we have probably changed 3 ages from the way I see things, maybe more. We have gone through, we are at a quickening point now. And we have moved, the pandemic was a whole new age. It's changed everything, the way we viewed the reality, the way we handled things. Then we came out of the pandemic, and that changed things again.
Yeah.
And now we're entering this new age where we have rediscovered this, and I do think of it as a rediscovering of this ancient technology that we're now calling AI. And AI is going to change everything in our human sphere, for good and ill. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. And in the past, I believe that the same technology led to types of cataclysms and destructions. But that's not the promise of it if we are wise with it. But we have once again came to this point. Now we are outside of the watchful eye of the ancient seers. We're outside of the prophets. And we have to be able to step up into this new age and become the new prophets, become the new people who will create and start to engineer the future of tomorrow. That's really what our ancestors wanted for us. They had come to that point once, and they were able to leave these prophecies, which was a technique of social engineering for this time. Now we have to be the ones that create the new ones. So that's been a lot of what I'm working on in the new books I'm writing. It's a way of taking the sacred into the new into this new era we are entering.
So
how can we?
So kind of blending the old with the new.
To a degree, it's a blending, but it's actually as all of our ancient ancestors kind of prepared us for, it's a letting go of the old, because we can't blend the corruption into a new vessel, or we continue to propagate that corruption, because all the ancient traditions have corruption built into them. They have the corruption of the empires that ruled them. They have the corruption of dominator culture. They have all these corruptions that have happened to them. Now it's our job to take what was good or what was wholesome about all those things, and to be able to actually purify it out of its ancient forms and to allow it to start to breathe a new life. And this new life isn't a new religion. That religions, lineages, all these things, I believe, are control mechanisms that are holding back the progress of humanity. They were necessary at a point to protect the ancient technologies so that they could be used in this time. But now they have been used, and I believe we are stepping into a new era where we have to learn to let go of those things to allow the new way to emerge.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So do you have a title for the new book yet?
I do, but I'm keeping it to my breast at this moment.
Okay, I know. Everything can change at the last minute.
Well, no. This title I had since 2007.
Okay.
Cool. Well, you'll be able to come out, and once it's out, we can share it when it comes out. And
because we have to kind of wrap things up for today. But gosh, I'd really love to continue this another time if you're game to come back.
Yeah.
I'm always open to coming back.
So when you have any plans to be in Northeast Ohio at any time, or are you still kind of working on your...
I got some family up that way, so I am planning to do that soon. I've also, with these new insights, I've retooled the Qatari tradition that I teach to make it more accessible and easier to learn for people. And I'll be doing a brand new run of that called the Rapid Path. And that should be starting sometime this spring. Oh. And I'm really excited about it because this is the first time I'm going to be able to also include the 5-day initiation retreat in the price of the program itself.
Oh, amazing. It's exciting.
If you need help on, grunt work, let me know.
Well, we definitely will share
Absolutely.
that so people can check you out on Facebook, and then they'll get more information on that. I really would recommend anyone, if you're curious or open, to go ahead and take those classes. Yeah, learn. We got the teachers. Take those classes, people. Come
Yes,
on.
take advantage of the wisdom while we can.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Zane, and we'll talk to you again later.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
That's
bye-bye.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's really amazing. I love hearing that new technology. I guess I'm going to make it really quick here.
Yeah, it's time to move it along.
Okay, Cosmic Traffic Report, March 18th. Venus squares Jupiter, 15 degrees, Aries, Cancer at 12:05, 12:08 p.m.
You
That's
can slow down. You don't have to.
We'll bring in, I'm going to talk as fast as I can. Overly emotional day on March 18th. Watch your finances. Pay attention to your personal relationships, and definitely feel free to be overly optimistic. March 20th, the sun does move into the sign of Aries at 10:45, and at 10:46 we will have the happy vernal equinox day. Yay, vernal equinox. Cannot wait for spring. March 20th also, Mercury will go direct, so we'll be done with the Mercury retrograde. Cannot wait for that one. It'll be at 8 degrees Pisces at 3:33 p.m. But gosh, it's done. Anyway, that'll be good for Pisces, rough for Virgo, challenging for Sagittarius and Geminis. March 22nd, the Sun conjuncts Neptune at 1 degree Aries. This is, again, a very intense energy at 7:18 a.m. It brings in more escapism to the day. We're going to find ourselves ungrounded. It'll be difficult to deal with pretty much the energies. So put your interest inward, meditate, focus on your spirituality, focus on metaphysical things to help you balance. And this will be good for the Aries, though.
Oh, yay, something
Yeah.
good for the Aries.
Yeah, good for the Aries. A very intense time for the Aries, very early Aries. So if you're like, 1 or 2 degree Aries, that's going to definitely be hitting you. Lots of spiritual stuff, like a download, really, for sure. Good for Aries, rough for the Libras, challenging for the Cancers and the Capricorns. March 25th, the Sun will conjunct Saturn, and that'll be at 4 degrees Aries. And so this will bring in a very strong, kind of a sober energy to the day, kind of will ground everybody. It also will be, how do I put this? It'll be a great time to focus. It'll help you kind of get focused for the rest of the year in a sense. We have to watch where our desires are. We have to watch where we're putting our energy, and we have to find out where we are lacking depth of intent and in focus. So this will be good for working with your house, your goals, your home, your work, play. It's very good for Aries, rough for the Libras, challenging for the Cancers and the Capricorns. March 30th, last but not least, Venus will enter into the sign of Taurus at the very end of March. Venus and Taurus, I like that. I like Venus and Taurus. The planet of love will move into the sign, a more faithful and steadfast energy. So it'll be basically a time of sensuality, material beauty. We'll be looking and focusing on improving our environment. So it's a good time for gardening, planting our gardens, buying, beauty products, making ourselves, improving our looks, improving our health. So this is really going to be good for the Tauruses, rough for the Scorpios, and challenging for the Leos and the Aquarians. So that's it for the Cosmic Traffic Report.
All right, well, we're going to move on to my animal. We got a couple minutes here yet. I was stuck for an animal for today, and I asked a friend for a suggestion. And the first thing they suggested was groundhog because of it, because we're taping in February. And I'm like, already been done like twice. So then she suggested the horse because it's the Chinese year of the wood horse. And I thought,
That was
wow.
the fire horse.
Fire horse. No, wood horse. It's the wood horse.
Oh, well, why are they all saying? Anyway, go ahead. Go hurry.
No, it's wood horse.
Okay.
Okay. I hope it's wood horse. It's wood horse.
Okay.
I was really kind of like kicking myself that it was pretty obvious that I didn't think of that sooner. But we go into my take is that the horse carries a strong current of spiritual energy for me. It begins with freedom. There is a universal longing to feel unrestrained, to move with speed, to feel the wind, to be free from constant duty and responsibility. The horse embodies that desire for forward motion. It represents independence, momentum, and the instinct to run through open spaces. Yet even as this image of freedom, there is a tension. The horse is not only a symbol of wild movement, it is also a companion in labor. It carries riders for quicker journeys. It pulls loads, lost my place here, and it serves as a beast of burden. Spiritually, this suggests that movement always carries responsibility. We can take what we need for the journey, but we cannot always take everything that we want. Growth requires discernment. What must be left behind? Possessions, relationships, old beliefs, parts of ourselves that no longer align with where we are going. For what the others look at is like looking beyond the interpersonal, traditional perspectives, particularly Chinese views of the wood horse add depth to this energy. The wood horse is described as friendly, energetic, and socially confident. It works hard and values practical improvement. It discards ineffective methods and embraces better ones. It maintains strong relationships and communicates with ease. Here, the horse's energy is not only about speed, but about productive movement. It is a courage paired with stamina. It is progress that improves life, not motion for its own sake. The horse also represents teamwork. Historically, horses work together to pull carriages and farm equipment. Their power implies a partnership. Spiritually, this reminds us that forward movement does not always mean independence. Sometimes it means alignment. Strength shared is strength amplified. Even the physical nature of the horse offers insight. With eyes positioned on the sides of its head, it sees widely but not directly before it or behind it. Spiritually, this can reflect how we move through life, aware of many influences around us, yet sometimes blind to what lies directly before us or unresolved behind us. When we get to the shadow side, one of my favorite things, every spiritual energy has a shadow. The shadow of the horse asks difficult questions. What is holding us back, even as we rush forward? Are we avoiding responsibility under the banner of freedom? Are we over-communicating, over-committing to too many projects or beliefs, scattering our stamina? Does our need for speed lead to impatience or recklessness? Are we resisting teamwork when cooperation would bring greater success? The shadow can also appear as tension, disagreement, or instability, the feeling of being thrown off balance, as if something is trying to buck us from our path. It may show up as unfaithfulness to commitments or as moving ahead without integrating lessons from the past. The spiritual energy of a horse, then, is not simply about running. It is about directed motion. It is about courage supported by endurance. It is about choosing wisely what we carry and what we release. At its highest expression, it brings forward movement, improvement, loyalty, and shared strength. In its shadow, it's warned against recklessness, avoidance, and imbalance. To work with the energy of the horse is to ask, where am I moving? What am I carrying? Who is running beside me? And am I moving with purpose or simply moving fast? I really hadn't realized how much of the horse energy I was missing out on. My initial beliefs were easier and more succinct, but also very incomplete. And as a parting thought, remember to hang your horseshoe with the points up so that it can catch and hold your luck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
that's it for today. I think we had a really great day.
Yeah, Fairy Godmother's Pod of Wisdom and Knowledge. Like us, share, and we'll see you next time.